So you know, I'm recording so that I can post the video on Google Teams for anyone who might be absent. I'm not recording you. I'm recording me and the screen. Now, if you jump up and be like, "My name is Bobby and I like to pick my nose," then they're going to hear that. Okay, so it's just fair warning. Okay, so I created a class in CK12. Now we're still going to use Teams, but in terms of CK12, it's easier for me to create a class in CK12. So you're going to go to ck12.org, and you're going to create an account. I suggest using your Microsoft login that the school gave you. What is the what?
What's the website called? No.
This website? ck12.org. Like the letter C, the letter K, the number 1, the number 2.org. Alright? And then your username should be your first name, your last name, at CIS Comets. I just wrote comments wrong. .com. And then let's see here. And then once you create an account, you're going to click class and then join a class, and the code is E5NOC. That's an O. You join because you probably don't already have an account, so you can't log in until you have an account. So E5NOC, E5NOC. So I have been informed that this is a 0, not an O. So E5N0C is what you should be entering. Alright, so once you are in, okay, if any of your teachers end up using it, oh, now my computer's being slow. You can see multiple classes when you click on classes. All right, here we go. So this is second period Earth, so I'm going to click on that. All right, now, one word of warning. If something in here is inappropriate, this is a school-sponsored thing, so you will be held accountable for anything that shouldn't be there. If you go to assignments, there is one that says it's graded and it's on maps. Okay, it's due today. If you go to shared resources, okay, there's the Earth Science textbook. So no matter where you are, as long as you have a device and internet, you can get to the textbook. So for right now, why don't you go ahead and do the practice assignment on maps that's under assignments. All right, so I get a report like this, and it tells me who did it. This is how I get your grades. Okay, so when it says graded, that means it's graded. So you want to make sure you get those done. And you're supposed to go back now. Or maybe that's a new tab and it doesn't have a thing to go back to. So remember, shared resources are where you can find things like the textbook. Assignments are where you find assignments. And anything that you say in the class would be subject to school rules. So Mind your manners. And can there be a map of a map? Yes, it's called the legend.
Can there be a legend of a legend?
It's called the dictionary.
Could there be a dictionary of the dictionary?
A thesaurus.
Could there be a thesaurus of a thesaurus? I mean, I could keep going.
Well, you could. No, I don't know if there could be a thesaurus of a thesaurus. It would just be a thesaurus.
There should be a thesaurus of a
I mean, I guess it could be a bigger thesaurus. Anyway, so yesterday we did the notes on 2.1, and then we did the questions. Did we go over the questions? Okay. So everybody should have the underlined stuff at least. And then this was supposed to be this was gonna be your graded assignment today. But I decided to go ahead and try to get everybody in a CK12 class instead. So we'll save that for another day. Yes, sir. Oh, code. That's easily fixed. So it's E5N0C. Kicked my tripod. It's alright. Alright. Okay. Just real quick though, as practice, we can run through this. Oh, I'm just gonna have to use my finger. Alright, so mountain range that runs through much of the ocean basin, what would that be? Yes, sir.
No, I was gonna ask if I could use the ocean.
Okay, do you know the answer?
For which one?
For number one, mountain range that runs through much of the ocean basin.
Mid-ocean, right?
Very good. So that would be one. Alright, go ahead and sign out and hurry back. Any force that wears down landforms.
destructive force.
Okay. Destructive force. Excellent. Deep valley on the ocean floor. That would be the trenches. Any force that causes landforms to grow.
Destructive force.
This, by the way, is how I do things like matching. I always start with the definition and then I go through the words and find the word that matches it. Let's see, where was I? Continental crust that extends downward to the sea floor. I heard a voice, but I wasn't sure what it said.
I said dude.
Yep. Continental margin. Large land area that lies above sea level. The key, I think, is that it says above sea level. So 6 would be continent. And then a physical feature of the Earth's surface would be landform. A continent is a type of landform. A mountain is a type of landform. A valley is a type of landform. Alright. So then, this is section 2.2. You only need to copy the underlined stuff. Yes, just the underlined stuff. All right. All right. So if you're watching this at home, pause now and get the video or get the notes. All right. So you should have these notes. A compass, remember, it's got that floating needle that always points north. Compass rose is a figure on the map. I'll show you a picture in a minute that shows the directions. Sometimes it'll just show degrees. Like, north is 0 degrees or whatever. True north is the geographic North Pole. If you break out a map and you're like, I'm going to Santa's house, you're going to go to the true North Pole. If you break out a compass and you follow that magnetic needle north, you're going to end up at the magnetic North Pole. And they're not in the same place. I have a picture for that too. Latitude is how far north or south of the equator. Longitude is east or west of the prime meridian. Elevation is the height above sea level. We have 3 ways of talking about that. Sea level itself is the height, the average height of the ocean, okay, around the world. And topography is the height or depth of a feature. So it's how tall a mountain is or how deep a valley is. Relief or terrain is the topography of an area. So if we said Western North Carolina is really mountainous, then that would be the terrain or the relief. If we're talking about Eastern North Carolina being very flat, that's the relief or the terrain. Okay. So this is a compass. The needle always points north. You can rotate the bezel so that this painted arrow lines up with the needle, and then you'll know this is north, and so that must be west, and this must be east. This is a compass rose. All right. So this blue line is the imaginary axis of the Earth. That's the line that the Earth rotates around to make night and day, and that's the geographic North Pole. The red line is the magnetic North Pole. That's the north and south pole of the magnetic field around the Earth, which protects us from radiation from the sun. It's really important. Without it, we would be in trouble. Mount Whitney here is 14,494 feet above sea level. The highest point in the continental U.S. Down here is Saline Valley, so that's lower than the mountain. It's a valley, by definition. And somewhere farther southeast of Saline Valley is Death Valley, which is 282 feet below sea level. So that means it would be like 1,800 feet below the top of Mount Whitney. All right, so you're going to use these questions 1 through 8, and you're going to use your digital textbook. So make sure you go into the CK12 classroom and click the shared resources. That's where you'll find the textbook. All right, and I'll see you next class.